Friends, Shumoy here from Proficient. I welcome you all to our weekly webinars, which is today taking place on a Friday instead of a regular Saturday session because we had some issues there. And today we will be talking about our present market condition. Market just closed 1.5 hour ago. And how was the last week? We will talk about that. And we will also take a stock on the global markets. So without wasting much of time, let us start the global market perspective. Then I am coming back to our domestic market. Okay, whatever you can see on my screen is the daily chart of S&P 500. Yesterday it closed at around 2804. As you can see from this daily chart is that the February and March tops were at around 2780, and that level has been convincingly surpassed. So outlook is bullish, and prices are trading above most of the important moving averages of 50 DMA and 200 DMA. And prices are actually trading near to the February high. So this is a 5-month highest closing as of now, and pullbacks will be now buying opportunities. Last bottom was made at 2700 region. So going forward, the view is unless it really breaks the 2700 mark, intermediate uptrend is likely to continue, and the all-time high will be challenged sooner or later. This is the here we go. This is the weekly outlook, and the all-time high of 2850 region is within reach for S&P 500. So overall, the outlook is bullish. Now, how is the dollar index faring? Let us see how the greenback is trading across its six competitive economies. Here we go. Situation is not very much different from the previous week. 95 is still working as a strong resistance area. Yesterday, that is on Thursday, there was an attempt in part of the dollar index to break above this region, but it did not close there. So yeah, this resistance is very much effective. 94.4 was the last bottom. So if 94.4 gets broken, and the 94 region is where the 50-day moving average is residing right now. So if that is broken, then in the short term there will be some pullback in dollar index. And if that happens, if dollar index comes lower, then chances are high that some of the commodities, mainly gold, here we are opening the chart of gold, which as you can see from this chart is quite weak, and we had told you in our previous meetings that below 200-day moving average and below the 50-day moving average, the prices of gold are likely to go lower. So that's how it has panned out. Yesterday's closing was at 1224. Now if dollar index really comes lower this week and it violates 94 region, only then there can be some reliable pullback in gold. Otherwise, the short-term downtrend will likely to continue even in gold, right? So gold view is bearish. The longer-term trend is bearish. But if dollar index comes below 94, only then we will see some dead cat bounce in this precious metal. So that's the view for next week. Let us take a look how crude oil has been faring lately. Yeah, this is the chart of crude oil, light sweet crude oil, which as of yesterday closed at around $68 per barrel region. And yeah, it is now trading below its 50-day moving average, but significantly above its 200-day moving average. And the chart is also showing a series of higher bottoms. Last bottom was made at around 65 region. So right now, it is still maintaining that higher bottom formation. And the longer term trend seems is upward, and we are expecting this upward trend to continue, at least to resume. And that will happen if dollar index comes down. If dollar index breaks 94 and crude oil goes above its 50-day moving average, which is currently at 69.33, then there is a fair enough chance that the previous top of $74 per barrel might be challenged. So that is the view in crude oil as well, which is the long-term uptrend is likely to continue. And if the previous bottom at 65 is not broken, and if dollar index comes below 94, then crude oil is likely to go higher, and we will prefer to trade it from the long side. So that's our view in the commodity markets, global commodity markets. And as you know, our view in S&P 500 is also bullish. So now let's come back to our domestic markets, how our Indian equity market, especially the Nifty index, is faring. It was a weekly close today, and here is the daily chart of Nifty 50. This chart is updated only till Thursday. Today's prices are not updated as yet. Nifty today closed at 11,010. So there was a fair bit of bullish movement today, but in the weekly time frame, what we can see is that it is showing a bit of exhaustion, to be precise, in the previous all-time high, which was at 11,000 to 11,200 region. This region is actually working as a short-term resistance, and lots of noises are there. But still, since the trend is upward, and as you can see, prices are trading above most of the moving averages. In fact, all the moving averages, including the 200-day, 100, and 50 DMA. So chances are pretty high that this week's high or the previous week's high, which was at around 11,078, will be broken. And once that region gets broken, we will see new prices for Nifty. Unless that happens, one can keep a buy position with a stop loss at around 10,950. If 10,950 gets broken in Nifty, then some short-term pullback might set in. But whatever our feeling is that for the past few days, there was market, in fact, was extremely stock specific. Market breadth was extremely negative, irrespective of Nifty going higher or lower. Prices were driven mainly by few large cap stocks. Most of the mid caps were underperforming, and many large caps were also underperforming. So chances are high that going forward we will continue to see some stock specific actions, and it will be our earnest effort to be there where action is, unless there is no point in trading. uh, so right now I'm going to show you a few stocks. Those are continuing to be in the limelight because those are where action is taking place. So I have selected and I have narrowed my choices into few stocks, and here are the list. First of all, our old pick, which is the FMCG stocks. This sector is continuing to outperform, and the first one that comes to our mind is Britannia. Britannia, as you can see from the chart, is in an uptrend. There is no doubt about it. And in the daily chart, the higher bottom formations can be visible, and the stochastic occasionally comes below the oversold region, below the 50, below the value of 50. That gives us buying opportunities, and right now there is one such buying opportunity in Britannia. Today's closing in Britannia is around 63.58, so approximately at the same price that we are seeing. And in fact, Thursday's low was at 62.83, and that low will be kept as a stop loss. Unless that low is breaking, there is a fair possibility that the longer term uptrend will continue upward, and it is a stock not only to be traded in the short term but also to be kept in a portfolio for the longer term. And this is an investment category stock. One should be one should have a position in this stock for the long term, because as I have also seen the longer term chart of Britannia, which is quite strong enough, and prices have been in an uptrend for a pretty long time, and this trend is likely to continue even higher. So Britannia is one of our favorite stocks from this FMCG index. The other one is Jubilant Food, and there is also nothing much to say about Jubilant as yet, because as you can see from the chart itself, the trend says everything. And today there was also a big breakout yet again. Today Jubil Food closed at around 1481. So that is here. That is at around here. Okay. So this is another lifetime high for Jubilant, and yes, the stock is absolutely to be traded from the long side, and overall long position, overall stop loss for Jubilant Foodwork will be at around 1410. So second from this FMCG category is Jubilant, and last but not the least, I would like to draw your attention to Hindustan Unilever as well. As you can see from the chart, the trend is upward with intermittent pullbacks. And stochastic right now is a bit oversold, which actually gives a buying opportunity. Britannia today, Hindustan Unilever today closed at 1655, and this week there was some fundamental news about the quarterly numbers were released, and after the release of the quarterly numbers, the stock took a hit. Although the intermediate uptrend is quite healthy and is likely to continue going forward, but this kind of pullbacks actually give us buying opportunities. You can buy this stock here with stop loss at 1625. So if this level is not broken, 1625, chances are higher that odds are higher that the all-time high of 1740 region will be taken out, right? 1780 to be precise. So there is a lot of upside potential from this price for Hindustan Unicorn. NBFC segment, and this segment is also there in our watch list, and this is a happening segment. Two stocks that took all the limelight today are Bajaj Finserv and Bajaj Finance. This chart is Bajaj Finance, and this stock is today's hero. In fact, yesterday it closed at 25.20, and today its closing is some 10% higher, not 10% higher, approximately 7% higher at 27.20. So this is where it goes. Yeah. So another lifetime high for Bajaj Finance, and all pullbacks will be buying opportunities, but maybe some valid stop loss we cannot see in this chart, at least on daily time frame. So if you are not holding this stock, then you have to buy it on pullback. But if you are holding and if you are trying to create a long-term position, then buying in increments will be a better option. So Bajaj Finance is a stock to be traded from the long side, and also Bajaj Finserv, which again closed at its lifetime high of 66.63. So extremely bullish stock, extremely high momentum. Pullbacks are possible. Yeah, even in an uptrend, you have to see the pullbacks, and those pullbacks can be taken as buying opportunities. So right now, the stop loss for Bajaj Finserv, if you buy, will be at 6100 region. So that's another stock. Coming to private banking stocks, the most outperforming stock is Bandhan Bank. Almost every day except the Monday this week, the stock closed higher, and it put up a stellar performance after its quarterly numbers were published. Today, its closing is at 687. Today, it closed at around 10% higher. So there is no doubt about the longer term uptrend. But if there is any pullback, definitely it will be in our radar for buying candidates. Bandhan Bank, yeah. Not to forget the HDFC Bank. Today's closing is at 21.89. The uptrend in this stock is more steady, more reliable. The slope of the trend line is not much, but the upward trend, in fact, is very strong. So it is there in our radar, and it will be a buying candidate with a stop loss of around 2160 region. Yes Bank. As you can see, Yes Bank is also trading near to its lifetime high, actually at its lifetime high. Yeah, the last week's October high was broken, and that gives the stock a lot of upward momentum, right? The stock actually is right now trading at its lifetime high region, although today's closing was at 386, some 5 or 6 points lower than yesterday, but these pullbacks will be actually opportunities to buy. Stop loss will be at around this region for short-term stop loss, 378, but higher prices are ahead. These are the stocks to be traded from the long side. Market is very much stock specific. Not all the stocks are running. In fact, mid caps are extremely weak. There is not much of action in mid caps. Large caps are moving, and some stocks are also weak in the longer term. And these stocks I would like to show you to be traded from the long side as well. And topmost in that category is the ONGC. Uh, yeah, this stock is convincingly trading below the most of the moving averages, 200-day, 50-day, 100-day, most of the moving averages. This week we saw a pullback, right? But this pullback that took the prices from 150 odd levels to some 160, actually these pullbacks are not to be relied upon. These things do not make the stock to be good enough to buy. Within a pullback, if within a downtrend, if the stock is pulling back in 2 or 3 days, like it's sort of magnitude 10% or like that, that does not make any sense, right? In order for a trend reversal to occur, you need a consistent base formation. That takes time. So not only price, we also have to look at the time as well. If more time is spent at the base and then the stock breaks out, that gives more credibility to the reversal. That thing did not happen in this stock, and so these kind of sharp rises during a downtrend should be taken as a selling opportunity, which actually occurred today. ONGC actually resumed its longer term downtrend today, and the pullback is nearly over. It closed at around 158. This is a trade. This is a stock to be traded from the short side going forward. Overall stop loss will be 162, and the target will be nearly 150. So that is one of the weak stocks that should be traded from the short side. There are a few other stocks like Ashok Leyland. This stock is trading below 200-day moving averages, which is the official confirmation of the bear market in this stock. In early May, the stock was trading at 160 region, but due to some fundamental problems, the stock is extremely underperforming. When Nifty is trading at its lifetime high, or almost at its lifetime high, Ashok Leyland has lost nearly 30% of its top value. So this stock should be traded from the short side. And today's closing in Ashok Leyland is $107. So it is again trying to form a short-term bottom. Good selling region will be at around 115 to 118 region. If we get that price, then that will be a good short-term trading opportunity. So I'm not suggesting this stock to be sold immediately next week, but this will be in our radar for intermediate term resumption of the downtrend. And last but not the least in our short-term trading candidates is Tata Motors, which closed at 253 today. And this stock is again trying to form a very minor bottom, although this stock is oversold and the primary trend is down. But still the trend is very strong and it is likely to continue. But a fresh violation of 248 region will be good enough to sell Tata Motors. So that will be in our radar as well in next week. If 247 gets broken, then we will trade Tata Motors from the short side. So these were our views next week. I hope you will enjoy these stocks and enjoy the views. This video will be posted in YouTube, so you can give your recommendations or your questions. And trade with caution, trade with stop loss. Take care. We will meet next week. Bye till now.